Welcome back to Gears 5.
Was it? Yeah, shouldn't I have Dweebs introduce these?
Oh, right. I forgot. See, the thing is, JD is so forgettable that I forgot that he even exists. My bad.
Okay. Welcome to Gears 5.
Yes. So, JD, what are you up to? So, JD, what do you want to do tonight?
Ooh, the same thing we do every
Take
night.
over the world.
That's the Locals job.
Why can't we be watching that instead?
Okay, original or reboot?
I didn't know there was a reboot so original.
No, sure. The Animatics reboot includes Pinky and the Brain segments. So.
Oh my god, that even looks like the brain on that monitor.
Well, remember, Shiroi, Pinky and the Brain was originally an Animaniacs segment. It was only later that they made it its own show, basically.
Gotta like
I
that
only watched
throwback.
its own show.
Gotta like that throwback that for, the reboot, they had Yakko, Wacko, and Dot sing the theme song again, like in the original.
Yep.
Actually, the funny thing about the Animaniacs reboot is that a lot of people point out that it's technically not a reboot because it seems to be in continuity with the original. Granted, this works both ways. You could consider it a reboot, but just a very meta reboot.
Yeah.
Or you could just consider it a continuation because, well, Animaniacs.
Not that it matters much, but yeah.
Pretty much.
Either way, though, I think it's really good.
It is. All right. So yeah, let's try to see if we can continue to find out stuff.
Darkness. Ooh, yes. Use that physics engine to knock the chairs aside.
I mean, would you rather have JD just...
Wow, you really like knocking over those chairs, huh?
Okay.
Is someone popping those little foam air bubbles in the background or something with their thumbs?
Wasn't that funny, guys? JD was imitating a battle cry while knocking over chairs, and Marcus told him to grow up.
Is there something you want to tell us?
Chairman's wristwatch. Dell. Sorry, that's Dell. Jova, by all means, go ahead.
Dell here. Chairman Prescott. We always heard this guy was a real prick, but by most accounts, he's one of the main reasons we're still here to gripe about it. At the Academy, they taught us how to make tough choices that dictate whether your friends and squad mates live or die. Or our boy Prescott here used the Hammer of Dawn to burn down the entire planet. Oh, to keep the locusts at bay. When he did that, the locusts were on the verge of rendering us extinct. Prescott brought us some time at the cost of millions of lives.
Sorry.
Was it worth it? Only time will be able to tell.
I used to think he was a prick, but turns out he was the whole cactus.
All right.
But Pedro, what did you think of that joke with JD and the battle cry and Marcus telling him to grow
Like
up?
I said, Tom Biss. You know what's the interesting thing? Later, is it in this part? I don't remember if it's in this part or not. Maybe, probably. The interesting thing is that when we later get back to base and we meet Baird, who's now basically the Q of the franchise. He's basically giving all the other Gears gadgets and shit. That's actually the one time I've seen Tom Bissell actually pull off hilarity in these games. Like good, and that's just only in that one scene with Baird.
I mean, it is Baird. So
I'm
not totally surprised.
Well, Joe, Baird wasn't exactly as funny as he was in the original trilogy in Judgment, so I'm not exactly gonna.
Okay. He wasn't as funny, but he was arguably the most entertaining member of that game.
Yeah, he was. Tom, that good writing you applied in that scene between Baird and his computer. Maybe you could apply that to the rest of the script. How's that for an idea?
That's the thing, Pedro. As usual, like I said, for this kind of thing, maybe he genuinely believes that he did that, and he just doesn't know.
Well, I get the feeling he'd be aware now because, like I said, the backlash against this game's story was immense. Okay,
the community. That's the thing. That's the thing, Joe. But from the community, yes, because most mainstream audiences, not all, most mainstream audiences didn't even bother with this game. This game was a sales flop. It mostly succeeded only on Game Pass, and even then, not really much.
Did JD just blow something up?
Actually.
Explosive.
Okay.
Come on, Dwebs. You've put plenty of cover by shooters. You know what explosive barrels do in these games.
And then what do they mean by we've just lost our backup? Although we don't.
The DBs, remember, you can call that the panel reinforcement, you can use them in combat, but one of them will shot at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I'll just put it like this with the plot. When it's not being bad, it's boring at best, honestly. Like, there are rarely ever any moments where the game can soar or actually feel good.
It's not even in terms of plot, like we've discussed before. When you get right down to it, the plots of Gears 1 through 3 just basically amounted to the Locusts are doing something bad, go stop them. And that's literally what the plots boiled down to. What made the story so entertaining was the character writing. And Tom Bissell sucks so bad at character writing. As a result, there's nothing to hold the plot aloft.
For comparison's sake, Gears 1 through 3 were relatively simple plots here. What helped was that they had great set pieces to which the characters could react to immensely, while also having stakes constantly increase in each game here and there, which helped, it was the little things that piled up into something amazing that really did mask the sense that you were essentially just going down a linear path, gunning things in your way here and there. It did have good gameplay, stuff that could get challenging, with some very interesting boss encounters here and there.
Yeah.
But again, when you get down to it, it was relatively simple. Yet, Gears 2 is an incredibly memorable venture here. From stuff to the creepy hospital, to the practical ghost
The Rift Worm.
Let's not... Yo, God, yes, the worm.
That's one of the most iconic of parts of the Gears franchise for a reason. Like,
let's not forget the birth. And let's not forget the birth of the Lambent, as far as we knew in Gears 2. That was an incredibly fun thing.
That was actually a really cool twist. The fact that the Locusts themselves, the whole reason the Locusts started taking over the surface was because they themselves were taken over. Lo and behold, it wasn't a...
And then Gears 3 just took it up notch after notch after notch to revealing that, hey, even humans can become Lambent, to more revolutions revolving around the Queen of the Locusts here and there.
And Dom's sacrifice as well.
Oh, Dom's sacrifice and Marcus's father's sacrifice.
Finishing up his arc that started in Gears 2.
And mind you, Gears 3 got us to care about a faceless mook like Clayton Carmine. I mean, yeah, sure. Part of that was because of the meme of his family always dying, but no, they did legit make a character out of Clayton Carmine.
It's the family in general that's familiar. And they do bring, and they finally, and to the credit, they do have a Carmine, like Jova said in the previous part, the first ever female Carmine, which is cool.
Not only that, Pedro, they also bring back Clayton as well for this game.
Yeah, the problem is that they don't really do anything with the Carmine from this game. She's just kind of there. Like...
Hey, she's a girl!
That's nice, but are you gonna have her do something? I mean, I'm not saying I necessarily need her to die, because Gears 3 kind of was the end of that running gag anyway, but have her do something.
Until Gears 4 brought it back, because remember, a Carmine sort of died off camera by explosion.
That's the thing, it's supposedly yes, supposedly not. It's just
actually yes, Pedro.
That's the thing too. Okay, I've already ranted about that in the Gears 4 playthrough.
Okay,
I'm not gonna get into this.
Okay, Pedro, what happened?
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
No, go
I'll
ahead.
just sum it up. What happened was that we saw an explosion, and Kate's mother cried out Carmine, pretty much showing that he had. Well, it didn't show it, but it pretty much told us.
Yeah, I think so.
However, to your credit, it was a very horribly handled death.
I swear to you, audience, I played through that game twice. Once on my own, once for the commentary, and I still have difficulty remembering some of the details of the plot. It's
a very much a blink and you'll miss a bit, though, so I don't entirely blame you. Gears 4 has that problem.
Anyway, Shiroi,
Yes.
you had a question?
Yes, since I have no context, well, I have very, very little context of the first 3 games. Do the other Carmines do anything, or do they just exist to die anyway?
They did some things here and there. They were kind of like the sidekicks trying to help and shit, but then they got killed in a very horrifying way. You know,
play around with the concept. The first one is to be essentially your red shirt. The second one is integrated in the tutorial essentially, and it actually lasts quite a long time.
We can finish that one.
Oh my, that's one big missile.
Oh boy.
I knew that seemed too easy.
Baird, options.
Manually.
All right, then we call it. Let's go.
Hydraulic external power to on.
No! We get that hatch open.
Yeah.
Kid, listen to your old man. You gotta get out of there.
Damn it, we came here to do this, so let's get it done.
Ignition test commence.
JD, you don't need to prove anything. If the mission is a bust,
Actually,
just
I'm
accept
kind of with
it.
JD. Usually those type of hatches can be opened manually. They can do it.
It's too dangerous, though, I will argue. But whatever.
Ignition. Engine.
Not the first time the Delta Squad has took risks.
I guess.
I love how Dave there has hesitation like thinks, oh god, please don't let me be the black best friend who dies.
Don't worry, Dale, you'll survive.
Let's get that hatch open.
Well... Well done, never mind.
I don't know.
Jova knows what I'm talking
Oh.
about. Jova knows why I'm hesitating.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Anyway, go ahead. Anyway, yeah, what Tay was basically saying, basically, Shiroi, the Carmine thing in the original show was kind of dark humor, in the sense that we have this guy who's just trying to prove himself and just try to help, and then he dies a horrible death, and it's just kind of sad and at the same time kind of funny. So
He essentially subverts the concept altogether by having the Carmine being essentially badass for the sake of it, like the Doom Marine, and surviving until the end despite a potential fatal one. But mind you, Cherry, that was decided through a fan poll. Yes, for once, an internet poll did not result in horrifying things, believe it or not.
it also works really well because Cliff Bleszinski envisioned Gears 3 to be the end of the franchise. That's why he left the franchise right after it.
See a Carmine finally make it.
Yeah.
And not only that, like I said, they did actually legit make a full-fledged character out of this Carmine here. And I get the feeling that whether or not he was going to live or die, they were still going to actually make a full-fledged character out of him. And mind you, Shuri, it's a meme that the Carmine's faces are those that we never see. Yet, congrats, they made a faceless Mook one of the most popular characters of the franchise. The only time we've ever seen a Carmine without their helmet is in the comics.
Oops.
It's one of those things where it's one of those things where the character writing was on point, and as a result, again, much like we've said before, it's the same like thing when you're watching a Commando or an Expendables movie. Again, you're not in it for the plot; you're in it to watch the characters kick ass, and that's it. And that's all you really want from these things.
Let me put it this way. Part of our disappointment with how they handled Carmine's death in Gears 4 is the fact that, like, well, yes, you could consider it a running tradition that it's a Carmine's duty to die, or this or that. But it kind of feels like a massive step back after Gears 3 to it, at the very least, not flesh out a Carmine character, just literally have them die for the sake of it. Like, it feels cheap more than anything.
And based on what you guys just reminded me of, yeah, exactly. And based on what you guys just reminded me of, yeah, like his death in 4 was incredibly lame. Yet, but again, it's Gears 4, so I guess I should expect lameness. It's just.
Okay, yeah. Because whereas Gears 5 incites rage, Gears 4 just incites yawns more than anything.
He dies off screen. If if you're gonna kill a Carmine, kill him on screen. Otherwise, the joke has no punch. Like.
I really don't get why.
It's like, I'm not even gonna get into the whole die off screen thing that I'm sure Dwebs takes an issue with, but like even based on a purely joke structure, like it doesn't make any sense. It's like having slapstick that happens off screen. That doesn't work. Like
oh no, Dave!
Dave's still out there. Who gives a shit? He's a robot.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm with Kate. It's a robot.
it's not
there he
his
is.
fault.
Alright, yeah, we are gonna see it in this part. Okay. Actually, it's been a while since I recorded this, so I didn't even remember the specific stopgaps of the parts.
And blast off.
Oh god, I recorded this like almost a year ago. Ugh.
Well, yeah, I mentioned the first part, Pedro.
I know. I'm just now realizing it. That's the thing.
Oh,
love how
Marcus,
Kate
you're
goes-
just jealous, but you weren't the one doing that.
I can't tell if Kate was going unbelievable at JD or unbelievable at Dell for daring.
Okay.
Robot.
Might as well mention it. Basically, Shiroi. Okay, remember, this is where the outcome of that in between games comic line that I mentioned previously is going to come up. So this is where now it's going to become more clear what I meant with my issues with that comic line, basically.
Hey Pedro, you know, I'm kind of wondering if maybe they should have called this Gears of War Hope, given, you know,
Gears 5. Yeah, this is another thing. They took out the of war from the franchise. And yes, I get that fans usually call it Gears for short when they're talking about it in the internet and stuff like that. That doesn't mean the game should, take out its of war theme. I'm pretty sure there's an actual reason for another ulterior motive for them to change the like that, but whatever. Cutscene.
Also, Tio, your favorite character's about to read our characters the riot.
Oh, alright. This is actually an important scene, so let's actually focus on it a bit. Here we go. It's this scene right here.
Yes.
James, how about I see Jin first? I'll calm the storm before you brief her.
I'm sorry, is this Sergeant?
I'm sorry, Tio, there's no glass screen of her to shoot this time.
Well, that makes sense.
It also-
because it was a robot. At least now we see.
Oh yeah,
actually
I forgot about this.
in live action.
Basically, it also says because JD went against orders. That's why Marcus has an issue with it.
And Marcus never did that.
Yeah, hypocrite much, Marcus?
Do the job.
Dad, I took a necessary risk.
Necessary means you have no other option. That wasn't necessary, and you know it.
Really, Marcus?
Hold on. This is the moment that I'm talking.
What do you think? Same thing it's always about.
Yeah, here, right here.
Hey. You know it's just because he cares, right?
Yeah, well, you know a hell of a lot more about him caring than I would.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
There you go. That's the reference to the comic book line that I was talking about. That it took place in between 4 and 5.
It was a shitty
Apparently, Marcus took more to Kate than he did to
See,
his own flesh and blood.
that's why I take an issue with that comic book storyline. The fact that even JD is very resentful towards it, and I just why even have this? To be honest with you, it just comes off as an excuse to have divides between our characters. Let me just finish, Theo.
Sorry.
It just comes across as an excuse to have division in a game that should be all about uniting against a greater threat. But go ahead, Theo.
Have you actually read the comic?
No, I haven't.
Because the only information that I could find about it through Marcus' bios is that the closest thing to the situation that you mentioned was the fact that during a mission with the entire squad, him and Kate were separated from JD and Dell had to reunite on them later.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So then it's not explained at all why Marcus suddenly took to Kate more.
Well, that's the thing.
Or maybe it's JD being an ass.
There you go. Well, at the very least, look. At the very least, we have this awesome scene with Baird and Iris, aka his computer AI. I actually really like this scene, to be fair.
But with only one working satellite up, it'll be tough to control the beam.
Basically, Iris just found out sarcasm. Basically.
We already made a Goldberg joke.
Yeah, you have in the Gears 4.
Yeah, Dave is at big mode right now.
Just a few problems.
That kind.
Oh, I know I'm gonna regret this.
Hey, Jack.
Everyone, meet the new Jack.
When the hell did you have time to build this?
When did I have time to build this? This is what I do. I sit here making stuff you guys.
Yeah, I get the idea.
There you go. See, Dwebs, he really is cute. He really is cute.
Okay, yeah, it's good to have you, Baird.
Not to mention Fred at the shore is great, as always.
Can you make coffee?
And he's all yours.
You didn't answer the question.
Hold on.
Me, I have a bazillion 40-year-olds.
Stop being a child there.
Yeah.
There are only 15 missing satellites.
Thank you, Iris.
Wait, hold on.
No. Basically, she's trying to figure out sarcasm. She doesn't realize that Baird didn't say a bajillion satellites literally. So she.
It's classic typo robot versus human AI, oldest time, but also popularized by Star Wars.
Also, did he name that AI after his wife?
No. His ex-wife is remember Jova. Sam became
right.
Sam is his ex-wife.
Oh God, I forgot they divorced. I tend to forget details like that because I usually tend to go into my typical.
Again, I'm guessing the comics probably addressed at
Also, I
some
can
point.
tell you that Jova, it seems that Iris doesn't seem to have any particular reference for
No,
naming the AI.
she's just Iris, just the name Tom came up with. I don't know. But yeah, you can actually take a break here and actually check some just like there was that photo from Gears of War Judgment there,
Oh, that's the cameo from the Ali Healy's character. I forgot her name.
Yeah, Sophia. Don't worry, Teo. Paddock will actually have an on-screen cameo.
I know that, but if you remember, Pedro, we were questioning.
Hold on, Teo. I have to explain this. Basically, Marcus actually has some kind of trauma. Patient remains in good health. He remained part in the law. There is evidence that the encasing fluid from the previous game is attempting to break down the patient's body at a cellular level. Superficial damage has been done to the face and digestive tract. Patient is expected to make a full recovery. So Marcus, so at the very least, so basically, Teo, the medics think that Marcus made a full recovery. If that helps you. Teo's not convinced.
Remember the first the nightmare that Kate was having at the beginning also showcased some similar traits to the condition they were labeled.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit, I do like the added bit that Baird puts for the whole grumpy spirits thing. So
Yeah.
nice.
Now Baird is the one character they definitely nailed in this game is Baird. Baird is great. Too bad he's only in this part. Too bad he's only in this part. Oh yeah, this basically, unlike the previous games, Jack has his own skill tree system. Basically, if you look out in the gun, you'll find some components that give you what is basically amounts to skill points. You can unlock various skills, or even improve existing skills that Jack has. We'll talk more about that later.
I will give him credit in trying to flesh out Jack here and there, like making him sort of an honorary group like he is in the story. So,
Like I mentioned, I like that. I like that thought process, and I wish it was actually applied also to the actual team members. It could be easily, done with minimal, without it resulting to be too annoying to the experience.
I agree. It also could have been a good way to differentiate each of the team members here and there.
And mind you, if you're thinking it's a balancing problem, just make it, just for the single player only.
Also, yes, you can also practice skills here and there too.
Basically, the game gives you this bit as a way to test out one of Jack's abilities, aka he can the flash, which basically blinds enemies temporarily.
So, yeah, arguably this section is not bad. It's actually good.
This is actually my favorite part of the game. Yeah, to me, this is the highlight for the record. This part of the game is the highlight for the record.
Target practice bit.
Well, it's also good in terms of pacing. You had the initial sequence, and now the character is essentially taking a break before, I guess, shit hits the fan.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm okay with that. It's just that I don't like the direction the story goes in, but we'll get to that.
I mean, it is a bit weird that what Pedro considers the best part of the game is target practice.
Well, it's mostly because of Baird whips.
That should put things into perspective, Dibs. It's pretty much downhill after this section.
No, thank you. I'm good. I've played 5 of these games already by this point, so I'm good.
I'm very happy for you, for both of you. But now I need you to return your weapons to the weapons locker and get out of here.
Get the fuck out of my
Baird,
office.
I love you too. So Pedro, I know we haven't gotten to him yet, but what about Cole?
Well, Cole shows up later. We'll get to that.
Before you go see Jin, stop by the armory. They might have one you can borrow.
Oh, we will.
Oh.
Good. Now I can get back to work.
What Damon means to say is that he has more important things to do.
Thank you.
Those are private, Iris.
This is one of Iris's more.
It's a good job you haven't told Iris about anything more personal, if you know it.
Honestly, between this and, well, it seems a common trope in sci-fi. The moment you give an AI some kind of free will, it's not a good thing.
Oh, here you go. I think it's this.
It will
Hold on.
immediately try to sass you.
Hold on. I think it's here.
Peaceful.
Damon is not being truthful. Shortly before
Hold on
he
to.
arrived, he was highly critical of the First Minister, referring to her several times as...
Let's not get into specifics, Iris. Also, why did you tell him that?
I detected
Why not?
genuine
Hold on.
personal concern for you in Corporal Diaz's intonation.
Listen.
I thus judged
Oh.
it appropriate to inform her how you truly feel.
Whew, inappropriate sarcasm. Incompetent nurturing instincts. Iris, are you sure you're not secretly my mother?
You know. Okay.
Witty dialogue! I missed this. Oh.
Okay, you know, all this
I
witty
like
dialogue.
these two.
And it's from Tom Bissell
Yeah.
of all people.
Go ahead, Theo. You were saying? Sorry.
No, I was basically just making that kind of joke. Like, it seemed, remember, guys, the moment Ultra gain access to the internet, decide humanity need to be extinguished.
Okay.
I will say this: it is kind of a shame that they chose to have Baird split up with his wife in there, because with the dialogue here, I can only imagine.
I
how
didn't
witty
even.
would have been.
Okay, to be honest, Joe, I didn't even knew that before. Like, does the game actually explicitly reference that?
Can we just have a spin-off game?
Yes.
Can we just have a sitcom with Baird and Iris?
I mean, but yeah, too. I mean, there was literally points about how he was falling in love with Sam.
Oh, no.
during
What I mean
PS3.
is this game telling the fan that he's separated from his wife?
Kind of too. They don't flat out spell it out, but they do it kind of imply it, basically. If I remember correctly, I think there's a dialogue you can trigger. Hold on, let me see. Oh, here you go. Oh, there you go. There you go, too.
Oh.
Created a monster. Oh well, Iris.
Alright, tell me, Iris, please.
Miss Byrne would like to commemorate their long-running but non-marital relationship with a tattoo. Damon, however, is frightened of needles. Thus,
So they split up.
You know
So
what they say about kings, you should talk about them.
in fact, I would categorize his fear as classic.
So apparently they split
Classically
up because he
phobic.
didn't get a tattoo.
Phobic.
Anything else you'd like to share, Iris? Our love-making frequency, perhaps.
Hold on.
I failed to
Oh,
see why
but
that
apparently
would
they
be
still
of
make
any
love.
interest to your guests.
Oh!
Oh,
That's the one thing you actually repress yourself to talk about.
so that means he doesn't get any, right? That's what you're saying.
Theo. Here's what she's implying. I can't report what isn't there.
Of course.
So, okay.
I don't know. I like these two, but carry on.
Again, can we have a
We're going
sitcom
on-
with these two, please?
I don't know if it happens later, Jova, but so what the AI told is most likely the fact that they just had, a couple, not necessarily that they divorce or something. Let me check if the wiki says more.
Well, he said non-marital status, right? Oh no, that was just at the
Did
time.
they actually married in the first place, or just a couple?
Well, yeah, I guess
they did
technically.
marry.
Did they? I don't know.
They did marry eventually.
Keep in mind, the games don't say this. It's if anything, it's only the comics that might say that, and I'm not aware of the comics. So
I do definitely recall the marrying. However, what is up in the air is if they're still a couple or not. But yeah, like Theo said, based off
Alright,
of what
cherish
the
it,
AI
because,
suggested, they
we-
might still be a couple.
all right, and here's, ladies and gentlemen, a new character introduced called Fahz, and yeah.
Brilliant. But then we can't.
Who is voiced by? Let me check.
Some British dude, I don't know.
Oh yeah. How'd you hear about
British dude.
a monastery? Yeah, okay.
Even though I'm probably going to be the monk character.
Punching machines.
And sparring.
Sore
How
loser.
petty.
Shit stick.
Maybe a stick made out of shit? Or a stick used to stir up shit.
All right.
You were going so well, Tom. You were going so well.
You and me spar right now.
And how exactly is beating you interesting?
Yes.
Ladies, please, you're both beautiful.
You didn't
I-
answer my question.
Being measured here is going to leave me at a distinct disadvantage. Then again, maybe not.
Hilarious.
Hmm.
Are you in or not?
Oh, I'm in.
Come on, man. Let's just grab a jack component and get out of here.
No, this will be fun. How's that fun working out for you? Try it again, Fahz. Come on. Here's the
Is of boxing?
but not beat you.
Can't you actually play this sequence?
Nope.
Nope.
Well, to be
To be honest,
but no.
if the alternative would have been to be, scripted, I guess it's better this way.
Well, this
mean,
is
well,
not a
that's the
fighting
thi-
game, so
Yeah, okay. That's the thing, Tio. There's not really that many melees.
There you go, Fahz Chultani, voiced by Rahul Kohli. Let me see what is his resume.
I will admit, though, how cool would it have been if there were a new class of gear in the series where you could actually have him, go fisticuffs with enemies here and there, Pedro.
Okay,
Like, I see where Tio's coming from.
It's a relatively newcomer type of voice actor. He started in 2007, more than anything. It's been mostly TV stuff, but apparently Jove was in one episode of Red vs. Blue. Interesting enough, in 2016.
all right.
Very interesting. But I see where it is kind of a shame that we don't get a new melee class here and there. But not Tio, that was mainly just cutscene stuff.
Personally, I'm not bothered by it. I mean, I don't. Gears has never really been about fighting gameplay, so it's mostly gun gameplay. Because
I'm not. Well, I mean, I guess I could
isn't
understand.
gunplay a form of fighting?
Okay, Dweebs, that's a bit pedantic for that particular section. But more on point, maybe that would have been a potential way to also evolve the gameplay, having a new form of type of the Chainsaw Balancer applied to your gauntlets, kind of like what Doom Eternal did with its new gimmick of a hook that's retractable, something along those lines.
I guess, sure.
Do something like what
Used
Transform.
to introduce you to a more punching type of combo to spice up from the shooting.
Do something like what the War for Cybertron series did with more melee-oriented characters here and there. Yeah, it's still technically a third-person shooter, but that doesn't mean that you can't have more physical classes here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And like Tio mentioned, it would definitely have helped in sprucing up the gameplay. You're like I said, the gameplay here is relatively fine. The problem is there's not really
Another
any
headache.
real big changes to it. Oh, she's been having these headaches, you say?
All right, moving on.
Okay, epic music for us walking down to the office, I see.
Wouldn't you want that?
It's just to talk to Jin. She's not the devil, despite what the dialogue has suggested.
I have good news, though.
Avi, wouldn't you want epic music to accompany you everywhere you
I have good news for you, though, Teo. Jin is only in this one scene, and that's it.
Well, that's not what I meant in the first game. In the previous game, I was more like, for starters, it's nice to see her actually in the flesh instead of actually to see her on a screen or anything. But, also to understand what the fuck is going on with the society. Because one thing that I wasn't understanding right enough in Gears 4 is why exactly there was a faction that was splitting up, from the coalition, and after that I actually tried to look it up and understood why, because Jim was essentially veering the way things were handled in a more dictatorship kind of way.
Oh yeah, like kidnapping children and literally
Restricted
people
access
from their homes.
by
The order of COGS.
the COG, aka the Coalition of Ordered Governments.
Anyway, I'll mention this after the cutscene since again the idea is important.
All visitors must register before yada yada yada. Boop.
All right, here we go.
Let me be perfectly clear. When it comes to this weapon, I don't share your optimism.
It's the first time anyone's accused me of optimism.
Yes, well, mind you, your wife refused the idea of bringing the hammer back online. I would have thought you'd receive.
And here's this picture of her, conveniently.
You didn't say that. For both our sakes.
Anya.
Yeah, low blow.
To talk about her.
If that's what you think, I won't argue.
Of course, he's also drinking tea.
That is surprisingly very agreeing of her.
Your son and mine.
Oh, she's also pregnant.
Well, oh no. She's referring to, you remember that whole Mother's Initiative thing that we saw?
Yeah, that's what she's referring. The fact that JD was born as a result of that.
Both times she volunteered. Seeing First Minister Stroud undergo treatment. Do you know how many children are alive today thanks to her? She should be buried here, you know, with the Allfathers. The people need her inspiration.
Oh yeah, burying her there will totally give them inspiration.
Just make a monument, that would be enough.
Yeah.
Like you can even spread the rumor about the fact that she's buried there. Who cares if she actually is there?
Like, I don't think people need to have her literal bones and ashes.
Here's Anya's corpse. Here's Anya's corpse. Be inspired, please.
I mean, that's what mentality that Stalin had with his predecessor, I guess.
Oh yeah, because Stalin was the greatest.
Absolutely. Or Lenin.
Same page, huh?
Load is please grow.
Well, they're descriptive. I'll give them that.
Well, this subtitles were made with deaf people in mind, so.
Oh yes, very subtle, Marcus.
The Hammer of Dawn will not be brought back online.
That's probably foreshadowing for the Hammer of Dawn will be brought back online.
Or probably someone between JD or Kate will take the initiative and try to get it back online.
Activity in the nearby burial site. Chief Carmine, report.
Oh.
Is somebody grave robbing?
Hey, Clayton from Gears 3.
Yep, he's back. Uh-oh.
Will he live
the Carmines are in danger again. Alright, gotta go.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, so basically what happened is that the Carmine family does actually
This
have
is
a
war! That's the name of the chapter.
Yeah, basically to your own story, the Carmine family actually do have a business, believe it or not. A family business also, yeah. Low-key flipping the bird at Fahz.
I wonder if they have a specific code word for Carmine is about to fucking die, probably.
Wouldn't be too surprised.
So basically, Fahz is here because we need an asshole to... Oh, there he is. There you go, Jova. There's Cole.
Hey, Cole! You're gonna meet...
Oh shit, they have another war back.
That's not how you say hello.
That's very rude.
That's how we say hello to Locust, Shiroi.
But yeah, Fahz is basically here because we need someone to be an asshole to the main characters, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna be straight. I don't like Fahz.
Well, it's mostly... well, my main problem with Fahz isn't even here yet. Like, I'll have to talk about that in Act 3. Not so much now.
Oh, I'll just say this. Having a character for the sake of being an a-hole, I get. But he's not even a good kind of a-hole here and there. He's not funny, he's not entertaining, and his behavior doesn't really... It doesn't really... It doesn't... Yeah.
Oh, yes, game. I also played Dead Space.
Well, there are plenty of games of this nature actually have sections like these sometimes. So, this is very common.
But considering the type of monsters too, I get the idea this was very inspired by sequences like in Dead Space 2.
Maybe.
But yeah, the thing with Fahz is like, his behavior doesn't contribute to the plot whatsoever. He just feels like dead weight walking.
Well, at least Jax is helping. Yay!
And unlike with Judgment, it's not an escort mission. Jack doesn't get hurt, fortunately.
Jack gets shit done.
Well, this is basically Jack 2.0, according to Baird. So.
Oh shit.
Jeez.
What if I don't want to?
That was the last one. Thanks. Alright. Get us out of here. Fahz, get cold! Thanks. Well, that sucked. Look, our Raven's patches through to Carmine.
No can do, kid. His radio's out.
He's okay?
I can see him at the central hub, so he's up and fighting, but the swarm's all over him. Hurry if you can.
Run our way. Come on, Delta. Let's get out of here.
Alright, I checked in the meantime. Let me see if what the wiki says is enough. Sometimes after the Lambent pandemic, the Baird entered a relationship with Sam. While never married, they remained romantic and business partners of DB industry, living in Baird Estate on New Era. Baird and Sam's friends began to settle down as well. Speaks about Cole. Baird took it upon himself to become an uncle to JD and gave him many toys growing up. However, Baird stopped seeing not only JD but the Phoenix family as well in 27 AE. I guess he's an event in between years 3 and 4. And Sam doesn't really get mentioned later, so I don't think it mentioned that they actually split up. I don't know.
Not that it matters.
When they got married, but whatevs.
Not that it matters much because we'll get only just a minor visual payoff for that anyway in this game.
So basically, before Emergence Day, the Carmines owned, believe it or not, a small insurance business in Halvo Bay, known as the Carmine Family Life Insurance. Think of both.
Yes,
the irony.
That's
irony.
That's irony. Thy name is Carmine.
and then later, they founded a new company, a Carmine Construction Company.
Well, Teo, maybe that's exactly it. Because of what happened to their family, they know how important life insurance is, so they started a company of that.
Oh, that's the thing, Pedro. They had the family life insurance before Emergence Day, so...
Oh, did they? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, at least at least their company gets to put their stuff to use, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah. And then later on, they founded a new company, the Carmine Construction Company, which is a manufacturer of tools such as the Buzzkill and the Drop Shot Munitions Launcher. Bit of in-game work there for you.
All right. Okay. Okay. So now we have to try our best to find. I don't think it. Yeah, basically just go in there and try to find the Carmines. Yeah, so we can help them out.
Pedro, which do you think is weirder? Gears 4, which handled the Carmine stuff terribly, or Gears of War Judgment, which didn't have a Carmine definite? I forget if it even had a Carmine in it.
No, remember, Jova, we actually did check out information, and it was specifically stated in an interview that they considered it at first, but they thought it would have been too redundant. So as a compensation, they included Clayton in the team that you play in the Aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird because, well, okay, yeah, I guess technically it was a different team working on Gears 4.
All right,
sorta, kinda.
All right, everybody. Let's see if we can salvage Clayton and Liz. It's Liz, right? Lizzie. Before they get killed, hopefully. So see you then.
See ya.
See ya.